No, let him finish because he's digging himself a hole. He's digging himself.
I'm not digging no hole. He actually.
But ask me after. Let
Jordz, I am saving you. You're digging the hole.
Jordz is waffling. I'll let him finish.
Man, asked me a question, and then they all want to jump in and they're like,
no one asked
who's
the
my
question.
train of
Please silent.
I don't even know what I'm saying because there's about 20 people.
We know.
Everyone.
I am the only
silent.
champion in here apart from Husam. If Husam wants to speak over me, he can. None of you guys can speak over me, so please know your place, peasants. Thank you.
I know he's not getting loud to me. I know
that. Name right.
All right.
Winners don't interrupt each other. Go ahead.
You know, this is what I've got as well. I shouldn't be looking up you in your eyes. Let's just clarify something, yeah. Again, I won a trophy this season. When you win a trophy, you remember that year for winning trophies. I don't ever hear no fan say, 20 years ago in 05-06, yeah, my team competed for the title. Oh, it was such an amazing season. Nobody says that. Nobody says that because it's not
really
that you can remember. When you're gonna say, Jordz, you're digging yourself a hole. I have said Poch's time at Spurs is a complete failure. It's a failure. So no one's dug no hole. Arteta, you guys are speaking about before I come on. I was watching on my way in. What did Ches say? Someone was saying Arteta is a failure. And let's have it right. You're always a failure until you've proven not to be. Ange's time at Spurs, successful now. He's lifted trophy. He got us into the Champions League. Yes, Arsenal are in the Champions League too. But I got there by winning a trophy. I got silverware. I hold a trophy up in the air that you've never seen before in your life.
Yeah, Ange in or out?
So, Wolfie, nobody cares about your questions. Please remember your place.
Are you Ange in or out after your speech?
Let him finish. Because
please keep digging.
You're like the jester right now. You can do some make people laugh or something.
Bro, you got to set the stage on there right now. Keep going. It's funny.
No. You can make people laugh in the corner or something. That's what Northern Forest do. You're not a big club. Nobody cares.
Keep going. Land.
But let's just have something right. Spurs have had a better season than every team that's not won a trophy. The only teams that have had better seasons than me in the Premier League is Liverpool and Newcastle. If you want to argue Crystal Palace, you can have that argument. I'm not going to care about it though, because my team's won just like they have. But us four, Tottenham, Newcastle, Liverpool, and Palace have had better seasons than every other team in the league. It's as simple as that.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
First question, because I have to go soon.
Wait, just check if he's finished. If he's finished, just check.
No, he's finished. He's finished.
Okay.
I know he's finished. Right. First of all, if I win tomorrow, have I had a better season than you?
Yes.
Just asking.
You finished above me and won a trophy. Even though the trophy's below mine, you've got two metrics that you've got. The Conference League is not a good metric, but you finished above me too. So I'd say, do you know what? You've had a better season than me. You won a trophy and finished above me. Cool. And you got Champions League. So cool.
That's my first question. Second question. I'm again, Ashraf. Well, maybe Ashraf. This might be a bit different, but me and Ches, do you remember every single year we won a Carabao Cup? Because I don't. Do you remember specifically where you were when you won an FA Cup? Because I don't. I remember winning FA Cups. Do I remember? Or they all just kind of go together. Like, oh yeah, we won the FA Cup. Maybe this year. Maybe I don't know the exact dates because I've got other things going on. My point is that. But I can name every Prem that I've won, and I can name every Champions League I've won. You see, when you're a big club, winning an FA Cup or a Europa League or a Carabao Cup is cool, and it's good to do. That's not the end goal. So it doesn't overrule everything. So regardless of if I'd finished 15th and won the Europa League, I'm not sat here saying, I've had a great season. I'm better than these people.
David, we won the Europa League.
That's not how it works.
Let me ask David a question.
You're
the same people. No. Wait, David, with his logic.
I need to play Maghreb. I'm sorry.
Spurs. You're the same people that call Spurs a small club.
They are a small club. And do you know how they're a small club?
So using your logic, then they're not a big club. They won the Europa League. Now what?
No. Hold on.
That doesn't mean it's more successful than ours.
I don't get it. You didn't even answer my question.
Let me finish my point.
I can, but can you refute my point? What have I said that's wrong? Because you've not actually said anything.
You haven't refuted anything.
Let me finish. Jesus Christ, you man. Now
you know how I feel when I was trying to get my point.
There were 6 people shouting at Jordz when he was talking.
I'm just saying. Because Spurs aren't hanging with the actual big boys. To them, winning the Europa League is the be-all and end-all. So, yeah, congratulations, you won your trophy. Yeah, you've had a better season, but it's because you're not of the level.
So who's your the be all and end all?
That means that it means so much more to you.
Who said it was the be all end all? Who said that?
For you.
No, never. You're making statements that wasn't made, and you never actually refuted my point once. Refute something that I've said that was wrong, because David, you made your point, cool, but you've said you've said everything that I didn't say. So say something back to me. What did I say that was wrong?
First of all, you've never seen this in your life, so I get why you're acting irrationally. You've never seen it. I get it. Right.
Again, I get you've not won a trophy yet, so you don't understand what I'm saying too much. I speak a certain dialect. It's called trophy. You don't understand it yet. You don't understand it.
Again, I'm not getting Jordz. I'm not fighting my little bro who I beat 8-0 on FIFA.
Yeah. You can read the room as much as you want, but I want a trophy. I don't know about other teams that haven't. I want a trophy.
You've never.
Football's about what you've done for me recently, not what you've done for me 3 years ago. I'm sorry, nobody cares.
Anyway, Aston Villa.
There's a okay, David. You're saying 1 second, David. You're saying be all and end all. I'm gonna assume. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna assume that Jordz said it's the be all and end all. Okay, he never said it, but let's assume.
No.
1 second, Habibi, 1 second. Arsenal finished second. Is second the be all and end all?
Is second the be all and end all? No.
Okay, so be all and end all with a trophy versus be all and end all without a trophy. Now what?
No. But to say that Spurs, again, really bad argument.
Anyway,
that makes no sense.
If Spurs had finished, seventh, I won the Europa League. I might.
We discussed this before, David. So we discussed.
No, I know, but I'm just going to say for the people that don't know, if Spurs had finished seventh and had won the Europa League, I might be able to hear their argument. To lose 21 league fixtures in a season, 22 league fixtures in a season, and to be acting this gassed, to me shows that you ain't.
We just need to do. It's a simple question.
Again, do you know what it is? I get it. Again, do you know what? David, you wanted to make a point so bad, but you never once refuted anything.
Let me explain 4 minutes.
I simply said no, because
you ain't had a better season. You ain't had a better season than 7 different teams in the Prem.
That's what you think.
That's not true at all.
That's true. By what metric?
No,
okay, so Spurs haven't had the better season than Wolves.
You're scraping that air because you're the only team. You're the last team.
I mean, I'm trying not to cut people off. Once I speak, I'll educate you on it.
No. Do you know what's funny as well? Yeah, you said that's true, but you didn't say nothing when David said, "Oh, big clubs don't remember the seasons they've won FA Cups." You've only won FA Cups for the last 20 fucking years.
I mean, if you let me speak,
wait. Do you remember those years?
Well, can I just make 1 point? Because I know 3 minutes, right? 1 point.
Yeah, David was crying rubbish. I don't know.
No. I agree with his. No. I agree with his overall point that big clubs will remember the bigger trophies more than they remember the smaller ones. And okay, Wolfie, you go first since you have to go. And then
just one thing, because this is Jordz's logic. Leeds have had a better season than Brighton. That's your logic, Jordz, yeah?
No, because it's
they don't play at the same level, Wolfie. Shut up.
And wait.
You're gonna take over the mic. At least say something worthy. I know the Jester's doing the dancing. Go on, Jester, dance for us, please.
It's just the same level of Champions League.
Exactly. Thank you, Wolfie. They don't play the same competition. Neither do Arsenal and Spurs. So how
we all play at the top level. We play at the top level. Leeds do not qualify for any major trophies. What are we doing here? They play championship.
Leeds are not in any elite league. Let me just say one thing quickly. Let me just say one thing. Let me just say one thing. Because you all disagree with him. I'm the only one that agrees. Let me say something. You go into every single season with an objective in the league and an objective in the domestics/cup competitions. Every single season, the season starts, the objective is try to do this in the league, try to do this in the cup competitions. Spurs' objective was finish in the top 5, try to get Champions League qualification, and try to win the Europa League. That was their objective at the start of the season. Arsenal's objective was try to win the English Premier League and do well in the domestics/win one of them, even a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, right? That was the objective of both clubs objectively at the start of the season.
To determine success and failure.
If you told Daniel Levy at the start of the season, listen, you finish 5th, you get Champions League football, is that success? He would have said yes. So that's the success in terms of Spurs have a different standard to Arsenal. Now, in the league, Arsenal did not win the league. in the domestics, Arsenal did not win the domestics. The UCL, Arsenal did not win the UCL. So they have objectively failed in all their targets. Tottenham Hotspur failed in the league because they were 17th, record amount of losses, but they have succeeded in the club competition that also gives them Champions League qualification. Now, if they won, and I'm going to be very objective here, if Spurs won the Conference League and then they qualified to Europa in using like that logic, I would say, okay, they wouldn't have had a successful season. The only issue with is Spurs winning Europa makes them a Champions League club next season. So it's not just a trophy. It's a trophy plus you've qualified for the Champions League.
No, Hassan, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
Now, had Arsenal, I'm not ignoring league finish. I'm not. Had Arsenal won just the Carabao Cup, I would have said they had a better season than Spurs. Why? Because Arsenal are second and won something. The issue is they both achieved Champions League qualification and one of them left with a trophy. That's
So
debunk what I said. Debunk what I said because the two. One sec, Chess.
Even 2 minutes, bro.
Same, but just this one sec. Debunk what I said on to Jordz because the two important majors we all agree. I'm sure Premier League and Champions League. Yeah, Leeds won the Championship. That qualifies them into going and competing for the Premier League next season. By Jord's logic, Leeds have had a better season than Brighton. So how does that logic not compute with him? I will not
Nothing you say
Arsenal and Spurs competed in three of the same competitions: Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA.
That's true.
And we did better in one of them.
What did you do better in? Wait, what did you do better in? You didn't do better in only Premier League, bro. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny as well, yeah?
That's my point. Carabao Cup semi-semis.
The silly
I'll let us go. I'll let us go, and then I'll respond.
They will come out and try to downplay Europa League, but you got knocked out by the FA Cup by the team we beat in the final. So it's so silly from Arsenal.
I'll debunk it in a bit. Let him go.
George, here's the thing, yeah?
Let him go.
Sam's logic is fine, but the problem is this: do we consider top Spurs as a Big Six club? Yes or no?
No, I don't. No problem.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
That makes no sense.
No, you understand where I'm going with this. That's why
you're only here because of Rihanna, bro.
You're only here because of what, bro? I've got more European trophies than half of this.
Let me land my point. You're getting tripped already. I haven't even finished my point.
What are we doing here?
Yes or no? And I can continue my point. Do you see your club as a big club? Yes or no?
Have we been moving silly here? Chess, you know the answer.
You're gonna ask my question or what?
His answer is yes, Chess. His answer is Chess. His answer is yes.
Ask me stupid
questions. If you consider yourself as a big club, Hassam's logic can't run because you can't finish 17th, win a trophy, and it'll be okay. The only trophy, in my opinion, that can debunk that will be Champions League. Because that is the grail, in my opinion.
Goals
George, let me finish my point. I listened for like 15 minutes, respectively, yeah? So my point is this. I agree with Sam's logic to a certain degree. I can't finish 17th, win the Europa League or FA Cup, and sit here cheesing my mouth off. But I understand that trophies are the metric.
FA Cup's not Europa League.
That's why I troll Arsenal for not winning trophies. Because even if you win the Carabao Cup, FA Cup, even though you're failing your objectives, at least you're winning trophies and silverware, which go to an overall collective number. Hence why Arsenal say they're a bigger club than Chelsea, despite that we got European trophies, they were FA Cups and Carabao Cups.
And Chess, if Man U had won, were they doing a parade? By the way, were Man U going to do a parade?
That's my point, Wolfie. That's why I asked the question. One sec, Mo. That's why I asked: do we consider Spurs a big club? Because if we don't, then the
you can't then.
Because the problem is your own logic is they're not a big club.
And we'll be saying that.
If I ask Chess
your Wi-Fi is not Wi-Fi
if
right
I ask
now.
Chess, he'd say Aston Villa are bigger than Spurs, and then he comes here and he gives them like Liverpool standards. Why are you giving Spurs Liverpool standards? They're not Liverpool. They're not Man United. I have to judge a club based on what they are. Guess what? Crystal Palace is not Liverpool and Man United either, but they won the FA Cup, their first trophy ever in history. So what, should they not celebrate because...
Wait, are you saying Spurs are not a big club?
When did I say to celebrate? When did I
Who's the big six?
People are acting like Spurs are Real Madrid. They're not. I need to look at
I never said
answer my question. Who's the big six?
George, you're in the big six for different reasons.
All right, so no, but we was part of the big six before you was. So how are you telling me this?
You weren't, George.
We was a bigger club before you. You've only been big for 20 years. Do you not know history? Wait. Maybe I need to school you, David. Yeah, maybe I need to school you. But you had 5 trophies before this century. Yeah, you were not a big club. My club's always
I gotta go,
been a big club.
George.
Yeah,
George,
big
I've
up.
seen
Thank
things
you,
you've
Jessica.
never
Good dancing today.
George,
Big
I've
love,
seen
man.
things
Big
you've never
love. Big
seen.
love.
I've
See you
seen
tomorrow,
things you've
Wolfie.
never
Right,
seen.
you've only been
I've
big
seen
for the last
George,
20
I've seen
years.
things
So you
you've
want to
never
come and tell me that we're the big six for what reasons? You're in the
George,
big six
if I
because
was
of
born
Roman.
in
That's it.
George,
Without
George,
Roman, you've been nothing. And that is your
George,
club.
if I was born, George,
Your
if I was
club is.
born,
We might as well call you.
Yeah. But hold on,
George,
David. Yes,
George,
George. Hold on,
hold
David.
on.
Yes, George.
Wait.
But you got an ownership that spends the same as Roman, and you still haven't won the Premier Leagues and the Champions.
We don't
Hold
spend
on,
the same
hold
as
on,
Roman.
hold on,
Nowhere
hold on.
near.
Again,
Nowhere near as much.
Again,
The
regardless,
last
biggest
4 or 5
team.
years,
if I was born,
You have
if I was born in 1970 and I was a Chelsea fan, I even before the Roman money, I still would have seen more than the Spurs fan. So,
But that's cap. But that's cap.
it
No, you
mad?
didn't.
Is it
But you're
mad?
just lying now. But you're just lying, David.
2004,
But
and
you're
then
just
after
lying. But now you're just lying. But now
true.
you're just
Not
resorting
true.
to lying. If you're gonna do this, David, you can at least result in
Anyway,
facts.
Anyway.
So no, not anyway. Just don't. No, don't lie.
Again,
Come
I'm
in
not
here and
lying.
spit
I'm not
facts.
lying.
You are lying. You are.
You guys again. It might again. Okay.
How is he lying? He would have
I'm
seen
not-
more.
He just said if he was born in 1970, he would have scored more trophies. He's just
Apparently,
lying.
I'm lying. Cool.
Yeah. How? He would have
No,
seen
no, it's
60.
correct. It's
It's
How about-
correct,
how about-
George. He would have seen
Correct.
the Champions
Like I
League.
said, that club was nothing without Roman. Without Roman, it was nothing. My club was bigger for longer than yours. Your club's been big for 20 years. My club's been big for 100. Allow it. You can't compare to me.
Guys, I won't do my lifetime. Mo, ever since you were born to today, who's won more trophies, me or Spurs?
You, of course, and bigger trophies as well. Like bigger, much bigger trophies.
40, 50. If I'm 50 years old and I'm a Chelsea fan, I've seen more.
I'm not 50 years
40,
old,
I've
you
seen
fraud.
more. George, in my lifetime, you've been competing for a league title 3 times. That's it. That's all you've got.
more 50
And
years
you've got
old.
1 Europa League and you've got 1 Carabao Cup. Why are you getting loud? I'm so confused, bro.
Clearly you don't
Are you
know.
a big
Clearly
club
you don't know. You
or
actually
not?
don't know because again, you're
You're not a big
You've
club.
had a
actually
better
wrong.
season.
George, you're not a big club.
You ain't had a
Okay,
better
one
season.
second, one second. So David,
You're
David.
the season this
So
season.
David, you're saying
David's young. He's trying to tell me my
No,
club's
one
not one
second. I
thing.
wanna.
I don't
David,
get
you dug your own hole.
Because you're a
You
kid,
dug
that's
your own
fine. But
hole
I'm
because
not.
you're a fraud.
I'm
One
doing a
second,
club plenty.
forget this fight, George. So David, you're saying that Spurs are not a big club, right? That's what
No,
you're
they're
saying.
not.
Okay,
They're not.
perfect. Okay, not a big club won the Europa League. Big club finished.
Great.
No.
Great
And
for
when-
them.
And when
Fantastic.
I say that they are,
Don't say
they
no.
are-
You just said
No,
they're not a
hold
big
on,
club.
Let me explain. Can I explain what I'm thinking? In
Not a
terms
big
of-
club won Europa League.
No, let me
Small-
explain. Let me
Big club
explain.
won
Let
nothing.
me explain. Hold on. Let me finish. When I say not a big club, they are not in the top 5. They're not. They are in the next 3,
You're just
which
moving
is
the
them.
goalposts.
It's them,
You're
Villa,
just
and
trying
Newcastle.
to be right
It
so
is
badly,
them-
man.
them
Just
three.
So
admit
you're
it.
putting me next to Newcastle have won one trophy in 70 years. This I know you're just chatting rubbish.
You've
Hey, do you know what?
you've won 2
Mo,
cups
I
in
can't
like
even.
40,
Guys
bro.
are just here
Why are you getting
waffling.
loud?
I don't know
You've
what's
won 2
going
in
on.
like 40.
But I'm a
You can't be
champion,
loud,
and I
bro.
can't lie. I can't be doing shows with guys.
Wait, I
that
wanted to
don't
rebut. I wanted to
understand my
answer.
dialect.
I wanted to answer
When
because I
you're
didn't
not
get a chance to
trophy
speak on
winner,
this.
there's clearly some things missed in translation. So I
hold
think
on,
I'm just
George,
sit here and be quiet and let the
George,
jesters
just easy,
answer
guys.
stuff.
Just easy,
Who knows
simple.
what it's like? You just gotta let them
Easy,
dance.
George, let me just ask you a simple question, George. If Chelsea finished, I'm not going to say 17th, 15th in the league, and they won Europa League, do you think you would be sitting here happy with their
It
season?
does not matter because you all say Chelsea are bigger than Spurs. So why does
Hold
it
on.
matter?
Yeah,
Why
you
am
can
I
answer-
holding Spurs to Chelsea standard? Why? No. You answer that question first.
Yeah, because George said that. George
George
said
holds his
that.
club to that
Listen to
standard.
the point.
It's not us.
David's
Sam, that's
argument
why I
is
asked
Wallahi,
the
that's
question.
not
That's why I asked
what
the
David
question.
said. One
That's
second.
how
All
you
of
don't
you,
understand
one
what he's
second. This
saying.
is ultra waffle here. This is David,
Yeah,
right?
Hussam,
Wait,
you don't
why-
understand.
wait,
Wallahi,
one
you're
second.
not getting the
Yeah,
point.
Habibi,
You
one
don't
You know,
second.
you know Hassam's not even listening to anything we've
gotta
Not
rebutted,
even
right?
listening
I have
to
to
us.
speak. This is David's logic. Why are you getting
listened
loud?
once.
For the last 20 years, all you've won is a Europa League and a Carabao Cup. Spurs are not a big club. Okay, not a big club. Won Europa and qualified for the Champions League. Big club Arsenal finished second. One
George
fuck all.
thinks he's a big
Now
club.
what?
What's
Hold
the
on, Chaz.
problem?
So let Hussam talk with George. If you convince George that they're not a big club, we'll end the
Tell
show.
George that.
We'll agree. Done. Yeah,
They're
we'll
not a big
agree.
club.
Go ahead.
Spurs
Go ahead.
are a big
You're
club
arguing with
because
us.
of
Argue with him.
He's not on
Argue
your
with him.
side.
Yeah, Habibi, let me talk. Let me talk.
He's
Let me
He's
talk.
not
Let
on
me
your
talk.
side.
Let me
He's
talk.
not
Let
on
me
your
talk.
side.
He's not on your
Not on
side.
your
Spurs are bigger than the likes of Newcastle and other clubs, okay? But Spurs are not on the level of a Liverpool or a Man United or an Arsenal to judge them by that standard.
Or a
Chelsea
Chelsea.
in the modern
Or a
era,
Chelsea.
Chelsea in the modern era have had Daddy Abramovich, who spent 400 million in 2005 to get them to this level, and now they're piping up. So I understand what he's saying.
Why is that relevant? Wait, why is that
history
relevant?
doesn't matter only for the ones that don't have it. That's the ones who don't care about history, the ones who don't have history. So you want to know, Chelsea fans mock Liverpool for going 30 years without a league title. You know, Chelsea went 55 years without a league title twice.
No, now you're on a tangent. Now you're just waffling.
55 years without a league title twice.
Guys, I'm going to give you the facts before everyone speaks.
Chelsea have less league titles than fucking Sunderland. They just got promoted.
Sam, just don't get upset. Before Roman, pre-Roman, Spurs has 2 league titles. Chelsea has 1. Okay. Chelsea has
the league titles. Spurs are bigger.
Here we go. Now we're waffling big time. He's like double the league titles. 2 league titles versus 1.
Double of 1 fact.
2 league titles versus 1. Right? 2 league titles versus 1. European Cup.
Spurs were the first English team to win a European trophy. Spurs were the first to win the double. There are information you don't know about.
Hold on. No. I'm going to give you an information. I'm going to destroy. I'm going to destroy. Sit here. Man City are the first English club to win a European trophy. Are they bigger than other clubs?
That's not true. Spurs are.
That's not true. Tottenham are the first club in England to win a European trophy.
And the first UCL was very nice.
Mo, do your facts. What are we doing here, man?
No, what I find the most
again, why you Sam even agree with each other?
Abramovich FC piping up, man. Allow me, man.
My point was
Sam, you don't even agree with Jordz, but you're shouting for him. It makes no sense.
I do agree with Jordz. What do you mean I don't?
No, you don't. You don't, Sam.
You missed the whole
Your point is.
You missed the whole
your point is. Your point is,
because he's not listening. He's not listening.
Your point is, Hassan, they're not a big club.
Hassan, you see Spurs as a small club, but Jordz doesn't.
I never said
exactly.
That's it. So we agree.
Okay, I'll tell you right now to solve your crisis. I'll tell you right now.
So we can get
the biggest club in England is Liverpool. Second, Man United. Third.
No, I need to have my say. I didn't have my say yet on that.
Fourth, 1 second, ya habibi. 1 second.
Go ahead.
Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea, Spurs. Okay, so Spurs are the smallest club of the big 6. I would be a fool to give Spurs the same standard that I give Liverpool. If Liverpool finished 17th and win the Europa League, is it success? No. But guess what? Spurs are not Liverpool. They're not Man United. I said, even before the Europa League final, and you guys worked with me on the Monday, that because it's Manchester United, if they win the Europa League, I will not say they've had a more successful season than Arsenal. Why? Because I've seen Man United win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. I've seen them win everything. So I cannot, via that standard, come here and go like, wow, Man United have had an amazing season. They won the Europa League. But I have seen in my lifetime Spurs win 1 Carabao Cup. So being a logical, rational human being, you have achieved Champions League qualification and left with a trophy versus big bad Arsenal that are bigger than Spurs, finishing second, winning fuck all. How can I, in any way, shape, or form, say that Arsenal have had a better season? How?
For starters, you're going to one. You're doing one extreme or the other. You're not doing a balanced conversation. Of course, they're not as big as Liverpool or Arsenal or City or Chelsea or these clubs, but they're still big, right? They're still 6th in the country big. So 6th in the country big does not finish 17th with 22 losses, regardless of the other trophies they win. You cannot say, well, they're not Liverpool, so 17th is not the same. No, it is still bad for them. And that's why Jordz and many Spurs fans, before the Europa League final, said, regardless of what happens in the finals, Ange needs to go. That tells you something. If their own fan base is saying, regardless of whether he wins or not, he needs to leave, that tells you how bad it is. It's 22 losses, which, by the way, is a record in the Premier League for a team that avoided relegation. And to answer the original question that was asked by Mo, which everyone answered except me, because he said, did they have a better season? If you talk about success, of course they did, because successfully they had a trophy. But they didn't have a better season, though, because the reality is, we did not compete in the Europa League. It's stupid of people to say a team that reached a Champions League semi-final was not allowed to play the Europa League because we were too good for it, had a worse season than a team that finished 17th and won the Europa League. Reaching the Champions League semi-final and finishing second is much harder than what Spurs did. So how could you say they had a better season? Okay. Of course, they had a more successful season in the history books because the trophy made a
Can we have a calm conversation for 5 minutes?
Guys, let me land. Guys, let me land. Because you guys all want.
Sam, let him land and let Jordz respond, please. So we
because the reality is, I understand they have a lower standard, but that's why it's different. If they were 6th, 5th, 4th, they were 17th. Even by their standard, if you're saying that's not their standard, even by their standard, and Jordz will agree, and I think they are a big club. They're not a big club like Arsenal and all, of course not, but they're still a big club. Where 17th and 22 losses should be unacceptable. To say that they had a better season than Arsenal when we didn't compete in the same competition is stupid. And this thing of, but the Europa League is weaker, but I don't care about that. It doesn't matter if it's weaker or not. In the history books, they won a Europa League. It doesn't matter if it's weak or not. It is weaker, but it doesn't matter if it is. I'm only comparing them based on what they did this season. If you tell me Crystal Palace had a better season than us, I'll understand that. Because even though we finished higher than them, we all competed in 3 competitions, and they ended up winning one of them. We won zilch. Spurs and us competed in only 3 competitions.
I'm just trying to understand your logic. They finished 12th.
Yeah, I agree. But then because they won the FA Cup and we didn't, they were better than us in that tournament. I want you to say that competition where they were better than us in, I can give them the edge over us in that regards. But when it comes to us and Spurs, we didn't compete in the Europa League. So you're using that metric to beat us. It doesn't make any sense at all. We played a much harder competition and reached semi-finals in that competition. So I don't think it's fair to say that they had a better season.
For me, you said it quite frankly at the start of your statement. You said they're more successful season. Successful ultimately means better to me. In my head,
no.
Success
for you,
means better. If you've had a successful year, I've had a better year. That's the way that I see it. Because again, you're right. This has not been a successful year in the Premier League. That's fine. But I saw in silverware at the end of the year. So when I do think about this season, what do you think I'm going to remember? I don't care about what happened in the Premier League. I'm not going to remember the fact I finished 17th. It will be a passing thought like, oh, wow, we finished 17th, but I won a trophy and a big one. I didn't win a little Carabao Cup. When I won a Carabao Cup and finished 13th, I didn't give a fuck about it when the last time we done it. But when I win a Europa League, that's actually a big trophy that big teams play. Big teams in Europa League. And for one, it's not, this is our 3rd Europa League. Like, again, only Liverpool are the only team in England that can talk about having 3 Europa Leagues. The 2nd most in the whole of Europe, by the way. So to sit there and act like it's not been a successful year or try to downplay a trophy, which you didn't do, Ashraf, but many people have tried, it is silly. So for me, the year has been successful, although there's been many factors in the league that show that it's been a poor season for us. Ultimately, it rid on the fact this last game saved our season. And that's what it is. The last game saved our season.
That's the only reason why and Jordz, I'm being very calm when I say this. The only reason why I wouldn't say success always means better, because the reality is United easily had a more successful season than us in the last 2 years. But I guarantee you they would swap their seasons with ours, because you winning a trophy, maybe forget you, because I don't know what you guys are going to do this coming season. But United winning the League Cup and then the FA Cup afterwards, they somehow got worse. They got worse to the point where now they ended up 17th with no trophy. So when I look at better, I don't just look at that season. I also look at what it means moving forward. That's why I'm saying success. I can contextualize. Success is only that season. I don't care about the context and stuff. Fair enough. But when I say better, I can't only look at what's going to happen this season. I have to also look at what happens next season. For example, and maybe this might not happen to you guys, but let's say you guys keep Ange now, and next season, obviously, you're in the Champions League. Let's say you finish 12th or 13th, and you don't win a single competition. This position that you finished in and the way you ended this season outside the Europa League is one of the reasons why you would have had that horrendous finish next season, if it happens like that. So I cannot just say it's better just because of the trophy, when I have to look at everything into context. And United is the biggest example of that. They've won the FA Cup, they've won the League Cup, and yet they've gotten much, much worse this season, despite having a more successful season.
But the difference, again, like everyone has highlighted, Man United are a much bigger club than us. So winning a trophy of that size generally doesn't do anything for the club. It doesn't change the mentality of the club. It didn't change the mentality of the players because they're used to doing this. Man United win trophy. They're the biggest club, one of the biggest clubs in England, top 2 for a reason. So like Hussam said, when it's Liverpool, when it's Man United winning these smaller trophies, it means nothing to them. I think they give a fuck about Liverpool won a Carabao Cup. It's like, oh, we won a Carabao Cup, and what? It doesn't mean Tottenham winning the Carabao Cup can be the catalyst, like when this Europa League can be the catalyst for the change in mentality and for us to go on and have a better season. Usually winning trophies breeds a better mentality into the players to show that they can do better, that you guys can improve. And that's what I feel like it will be.
But do you think your board will do that? Do you think your board will go spend and fair? If you think they will, fair.
They might not go and spend loads of money, but I think they'll recognize that this feeling that is around the club right now, winning the trophy, is one that they want to keep. That feeling will keep the fans off the owners back. You won't be seeing protests when we're winning trophies. Nobody's protesting when you're winning a trophy. They don't care about how much money you're spending if you're consistently winning trophies. So next season, they're going to know that they need to do better and they need to try and replicate this on a better level, whether that's go get Carabao Cup and FA Cup and a higher finish. They've got to go and do that. So,
and guys, also objectively, now Spurs, because they've qualified to the Champions League, now have Champions League money and access to a better pool of players. So it's done them well as well, even for the future.